All right, guys, welcome to the next video. This video is going to be focusing on the squad leader, team leader role, and we're going to base it around the plate carrier. The first portion of this video, we're going to be going over the issued plate carrier and all the things that can encompass. And the kind of target audience for this is the dudes just wondering, can I do my job as a team leader with only issued gear? I think most certainly you can. And then it's also to that guy that maybe doesn't want to spend money on personal gear. He thinks he should be able to do everything with just the issued stuff, and that's absolutely fine. We want to show you guys what we did to the issued plate carrier with the issued gear and how you can use that stuff to actually perform your job, and then some little tips and tricks later on. After this portion, we're going to get into if your unit allows you to wear all personal gear, how we would wear it, and then kind of a mix between, which I think is what most dudes fit into, like the 90 percentile, is having all your issued gear on the issued plate carrier. So like placard, your own pouches, your own grenade pouches, things like that. We'll break each one of those down and show you guys what we would do just from our very short experience relative to a lot of other guys. But I think we definitely have some good insight for you. So the first thing a team leader needs to be able to do is fight. Again, team leader, squad leader, you still have to be able to partake in the fight. You're shooter first, shooter always. So you need to be able to hold 6 magazines. The way we went about this is just putting these 3 issued mag pouches on the front. They're Velcro, they're still good, they do their job. You can do speed reload, tack reload, re-index magazines into this.
You can tuck the flap behind the mags if you really don't like that.
Exactly, like these pouches are good to go. They're not bad, they have elastic on the sides. You can put chem lights, anything you want in there. There's not too much retention there once you wear them out, kind of like I have. Like I wouldn't suggest putting a heavy multi-tool in there, but the good mag pouches, they're good to have. So we recommend just putting 3 of those on the front. I have seen guys, not in the team leader billet, but I have seen dudes put like 1 magazine here and then 2 on the cummerbund. That's okay, but we'll get into why that might not work for a team leader. Because the next thing you need to be able to do is communicate as a team leader. Team leader, squad leader. So I'd say probably from what I've seen, 50% of team leaders in most units have a radio, 50% of them don't. Again, that's just due to how your unit is allotted those. But I'd say probably 99% of squad leaders usually have a radio. So this is a personal radio pouch, but that's just because my unit doesn't issue radio pouches. So some of you guys might be in that boat, but they still make you carry a radio.
And you've seen the issued, if you haven't seen the issued one, it's just a radio pouch.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on with it.
Yeah.
The Shaw one's nice, we recommend it, but this is the only personal pouch on here, and it's just to simulate the one that I was not issued, ironically speaking. So, yep, radio pouch. It needs to be, I think, on your offhand side. So if you're a right-hand shooter, I'd recommend having it on your left side. That way, worst case scenario, you're able to hold security on your rifle and communicate with the radio. That's why we have the issued push-to-talk up here. It's a good push-to-talk. I recommend always mounting it sideways. I think me and you both used it, but if it's a good push-to-talk, but if it gets wet, it will cause problems.
Yeah, he ended up doing tape around the leads when the connection parts. So I mean, E-tape's good.
Yeah,
but
I definitely think mounting it sideways is just a good rule of thumb, because then if it rains, it's not going to get
off the side.
Yeah,
straight down.
It's just a little tip, and then tourniquet. So team leaders should be able to fight. You should be able to communicate, and you should be able to medicate as well. So we do have a tourniquet on the weak hand side over here that we're able to access very easily, and then we have our IFAC. This is where we start to get into the negatives of just running the issued gear, because there's no great place to put this where you can access all the contents of the IFAC and simultaneously access everything else.
Right.
All right, so we messed around with a few configurations of this. Again, this was the best thing we could come across.
With the issued gear.
With the issued gear. So the weak hand side on the back, obviously your buddy can access it, but the way the issued pouch is made, the zipper is gonna sit on the back side. And I'd recommend, kind of like how we did with the admin pouch here, putting a longer lead or whatever you want to call this.
Extension cord almost.
Yeah.
To the zipper.
That way you can access it and actually unzip it, because you should be able to self-aid buddy a Corminade. Probably not as far as putting your own chest seal on, but you should at least be able to like wrap your own gear with like the pressure band, or wrap your own body with a pressure bandage. And if you can't access it, that's a big problem. But that's where we start to get the negatives of just running issued stuff, because like for me, at my unit, I personally run a fanny pack as my IFAC. It makes accessing it very easy. I can wear it with a ruck on, all that.
Or doing a trauma roll like we showed before.
Yep. So yeah, that's where we would put it on the issued gear. But again, it's not a perfect scenario. So, as a team leader, you should also be able to fight with grenades. Every single Marine should be able to carry at least 2 grenades at all times. Obviously, most dudes are not just wearing a plate here. They're going to have their belt to supplement that. So they could potentially get another IFAC or another tourniquet on their belt and another grenade on their belt. So here we're just showing one, simulating that that other grenade is on the belt. So obviously, right-hand side, if you're right-handed, put your grenades on your right side because it's going to be your dominant throwing hand. And like we've seen before, you're not tempted to switch hands in the middle of throwing a grenade.
No, don't do that.
Please don't ever do that. Seen it happen, not a good time. But yeah, so very easily accessible, access at one hand, pulled out. The issued pouches, but they're good pouches. I mean, they have retention, like 2 types of retention. Well, I guess 3 with the tension, the Velcro, and the clip. So you're not really gonna lose these.
Yeah, they're good pouches.
Yep. And then again, the next thing we're getting into after fighting, communicating, medicating is also signaling. So team leader, squad leader, you have to be able to signal to other adjacent units and to potentially to a support by fire, potentially to another squad, doing link up with vehicles. So having an admin pouch, I'd say as a team leader is almost a necessity. And guess what you don't get issued as a team leader, or in the infantry at least, is an admin pouch. Other than this huge thing right here.
The one you put on your assault pack right at the top.
Typically goes on the assault pack, but this is the only admin pouch we get issued in the infantry. There's going to be exceptions out there. Good for you guys, but standard infantry dudes, you're not going to get issued a regular admin pouch. So this is really the only answer to that problem. And again, we put a extension on here just to be able to access it, because once you get in your right hand, we'll put it up there. It's kind of hard to do.
Do some stretching. You might be able to fucking access shit a little better.
Yeah, but you need to be able to have access to maps, because as team leader, squad leader, you should always be able to use your maps. Note-taking gear, quick signal. So like you might keep some of this in your assault pack, you might not. Depends on what you're actively doing. But if you have to communicate via 2 vehicles during a link up, you need to be able to have your signaling right there, and then a multi-tool, because multi-tool for plethora of reasons. Yeah, so team leaders have to be able to fight, communicate, medicate, and signal all at the same time. It is a pretty big requirement that we put on pretty young dudes to do. This is just how we would set this gear up if we were only running issued gear. Obviously, there are exceptions out there. Dudes buy their own pouches, which we 100% encourage. And we're going to show you guys some examples of what we found to work really well. So we'll get into the next portion right now. All right, so the next part of this video is going to be our personal gear that we're using to fix the problems that the issued gear kind of arises. In terms of speaking for the squad leader and the team leader roles. So the first thing we're going to start off with being able to fight. As you can see here, we're running a little, some like less mags on the front. We're just running 4. This can be fixed or just alleviated by just running a mag pouch on the side. It's not a huge deal. And just plussing yourself up from your assault pack. So that is just a small consideration that you'll have to make. Is if you're running just the issued mag pouches, you're not going to have 6 on the front. You might have just 4 if you're running the setup. The next thing too that we're going to address is the grenade pouch. Grenade pouch being on the placard is really nice. It's a very easy fix to just flip this up. This is an issued pouch. It just takes up 1 row of molly, which is really nice and convenient. But yeah, so personal gear, we're going to run less mags on the front. I don't think it's a huge deal unless you're not running a belt. Next thing we're going to hit is going to be communicate. So radio pouch is still in the same spot, relatively speaking. It's the same radio pouch. It's really nice. The consideration we have on here by stowing the front molly panel underneath the front flap is we're able to attach this placard to the micro Velcro on the front. And what that gives us the ability to do is have a like side pouch in here for the issued plate carrier. So that's really nice, and it helps a little bit with cable management. Yeah, so radio pouch is really nice, and then the side pouch. So being able to signal as well. This is obviously a personally issued admin pouch. A lot easier to get to. The zippers are much closer.
Was it a T-Rex Arms one?
It is indeed a T-Rex Arms one. So I like this pouch mainly just because it's slick on the outside, similar to the issued pouch, but obviously a lot smaller. I put batteries in the front, but this allows much easier access to get signaling things, headlamps, and at work I typically just put my binos in here as well. So it's a good pouch. I think every team leader, squad leader billet, you're going to need an admin pouch. So this is probably the biggest key item with that, and potentially even my first fix to the issued setup. And then I just have extra tourniquet thread on the side, along with my one up here. A lot easier to get to. I'd say the biggest thing that gives you ease of access when you're buying your own personal gear is going to be your IFAC. So again, me and him run Shaw a lot. We like Shaw stuff. This is just such an innovative idea in terms of where you run your IFAC because it's centrally located on the front of your body. So you can look back and like some of the B-roll we took, like trying to access your issued IFAC when it's in that place. And again, we put it there because that's where it makes the most sense in a team leader, squad leader billet. But this being on the front is absolutely awesome. And then having the tube connect, I can take it off if I need to. And I can wear it as a fanny pack, which is how I primarily wear it at work. The included soft armor as well is also really nice.
Yep. He sells on Shaw sells. I know it sounds like a plug for him. We're not sponsored or anything by him. We're just using his shit because we like it. But he also sells like a 3A insert on the back, which is kind of nice. You can protect your nuts from shrapnel. But yeah, being able to pull this away and work with it in front of you instead of trying to dig wherever the fuck you are, even if this was permanently attached and it didn't have the pull away, trying to dig below you is a little bit difficult too. The fact that you can pull it away and pull it right up in front of you if you're in the prone, whatever position you're in, you can work with it right in your space. So that's just a nice plus. Yeah. Plus, like you saw with like we were saying with the IFAC on the side, I know we've seen this at the range, like for the non-03 guys that are listening, like you know you've seen this too, or maybe you run it like this, where you have your IFAC mollied to your cummerbund. I don't know how many of you guys are actually like running through and training with that, and it's not a slight, but it's like, it's super difficult, and unless you're super flexible and like you can cant your whole body, and I don't know, it's just super difficult to get shit out of there. And I mean, centralizing your stuff like we're talking about towards the front, even if you run like a trauma roll plus something else, or have some, just kind of spread out your shit, like working with it all in front of you is so much easier. And when you're gonna need it in the moment and your fucking adrenaline's going and you're actually, not that we've done that, but we've trained to that, you need to be able to access your shit easily, especially medical. So that's just a point I want to make.
Yeah, being able to access all your medical right then and there is really nice. Like, obviously you're not gonna be putting your own chest seals on, hopefully, but being able to just put like your own pressure bandage on, maybe some hemostatic agent, like being able to do that to yourself, if anything, is just it just makes me feel better that if someone's not going to come help me, I can do it to myself if I'm cognizant. So, and then another just big key item too is the admin pouch. A lot of team leaders now, or squad leaders, they're getting issued phones or like mag tabs, something of the sort. That being stored up in here is really nice because then it's easily accessible. Having your note-taking gear up there is accessible, and then the added addition with your map pouch, or your map being able to just go in the back, is really nice. And you don't really get access to that if you're running the issued pouches, not a placard, because you need that molly space in the front. And again, I've seen dudes put their pouch in there and it just slides right out. So this is a really nice addition. Being able to slim down mag pouches, again, they're really small, but like when nothing's in here, it's really tiny. I've debated on whether or not if I wanted a pistol mag pouch, or a grenade pouch here, and I was just like, I hope that if I have the option, I'm going to rather throw a grenade than just use an extra pistol mag. So yeah, use that real estate for things that make the most sense.
Plus, like you see, I mean, these admin pouches, I think it was one of the Spiritus videos. They were talking about, I think it was Adam talking about like having a GP pouch that's empty. Like you're not stuffing it full of everything. If you like, for the team leader, squad leader kind of role, depending on how you want to do stuff, like this pouch isn't packed all the way. Like this isn't stuffed all the way out. Like there's space. You could fit a smoke in here. You could fit extra fucking bullshit, whatever the fuck they give them for a mission or whatever we're doing. That's kind of the idea too, is like if you don't want to run a mag like he's doing here, that's upside down, easy to access, whatever, you can fill it with one of those GP pouches that's empty and just keep it fucking. You can access it. It's not like we were showing with the the IFAC or whatever, where you can't dig anything out. Just empty. You have it ready for something that you need mission required. So I don't know.
I think the biggest drawback to this specific setup is not having these 6 mags in the front. Potential easy fix with that is you just get a smaller GP pouch on the front, shift it to the right a little bit, and you can just add another cell right there. Even the issued mag pouch on the front left. It's just how I choose to do it.
We're also running a belt, so the belt considerations. I mean, we're showing specifically here the plate carrier setup. We're showing like this is what you got issued from SIF in the first part. Like I don't really have the money to spend, or I don't want to spend on all the shit I'm gonna need like we've done here. This is kind of the other part. And that's why we're showing this is like, hey, I do want to spend the money on better kit because this is annoying as fuck trying to get my IFAC zipper open or closed or working with this admin pouch that I'd rather just have on my assault pack. Whatever the reason is we're just supplementing what we think is going to make our lives easier and more effective. So that's the comparison here that we're trying to make. And for the belt, like I was saying, that's something that you can also add into this. I mean, technically, we can run 6 mags fine here because this is 5-1 in the gun. And then keep another one somewhere else, I don't know. But again, you would preferably like to run a belt, and then you can loosen up your belt or move around things onto your belt to make it lighter or whatnot. It's just kind of what we're trying to demonstrate.
Yeah, and again, you guys that are just hitting the fleet, obviously some of you might be going straight to the team leader role, some of you might not. You might be going into like a rifleman, grenadier, automatic rifleman billet. We're going to push videos out on how we would set it up issued wise and how we would set it up personally.
Right.
Just to potentially give you guys ideas. Maybe you guys are coming straight from ITB where you actually weren't in those roles. You were just fulfilling straight rifleman roles. But we'll dish some more videos out. That way you guys have better ideas. That way you're not showing up to your unit looking like, a complete boot.
Well, yeah, that also, and again, it's like, it's not to insult anyone's intelligence here. It's like, I mean, for the guys that know, like you hit the fleet or whatever, and then you're just kind of like, oh, I see what my seniors are doing. And sometimes, I'm not saying everybody's wrong, but like sometimes guys are running kit setups that are like, they're like they have flashbang pouches on their like a back panel, and like it looks sick. They look fucking high speed. Unfortunately, that's not our job though. Like those guys can go try out for one of the soft units and run that setup with their team and run bangers and run these cool like whatever pouches. Like your billet, you go to the fleet, like whether you're Army 2, like you're getting your billet and you're supposed to carry the gear that you're supposed to carry. And we're just gonna show like you have the money to spend, you want to spend, or you don't, and this is what your issued shit is. I don't know. It's just kind of the point here is
just trying to demonstrate what right looks like.
Right.
Obviously, some people are gonna have different takeaways. That's absolutely fine if people have different opinions on stuff.
Yeah.
But speaking from someone who spends a lot of time in this gear, as you can see from just looking at it, like this is what's worked for me. It's extremely comfortable. And again, there's going to be guys out there that have different roles, different billets, different SOPs that are like required for different units. That's absolutely fine as well. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. If you think that something would make a little bit more sense somewhere else, also just put it down in the comments, and then we'll try and get back to you guys.
We're not the end all be all experts. We're just giving you our opinions and how we've worked with stuff for like at least a good amount of time now. That I think we can also take a note here is if, again, you guys leave in the comments. We appreciate the comments where they're like, hey, I like this, or this is how I run this because of this. This is what I found. There's just small things that are like, we'll also take into account. So
just don't take your advice from people that come from a boat company. All right.